Hello, my name is Escalante, and I will be talking about the tragedy of the Exxon Valdez spill. For some background information, the spill happened on March 24th of 1989. There was a dreadful incident of the Exxon Valdez oil spill in the Prince William Sound of Alaska. This incident spilled 11 million gallons of oil into the water. This came to be known as one of the largest environmental disasters that was ever recorded. This oil spill cost over $1 billion in agreements and settlements, as well as killed thousands and thousands of different species of wildlife that were living in the waters at the time. This made the area unlivable for some times due to all the contamination of the oil that was dropped into the water.
Our first question when we first read about this incident is how could something so catastrophic for the environment come to pass? The blame can be shared all around. For starters, the captain of the ship cargoing the oil was drunk during the incident, as well the crew that was working with was overworked and tired, and not to mention they were given poor traffic control instructions from the Coast Guard, as well as the coast not assessing the ship before departure.
The Exxon Valdez oil spill may have made the Prince William Sound unlivable. However, efforts are being made so that hopefully one day it can be livable one day again. For starters, we are still researching and monitoring the levels of oil in the area, which has actually been on a steady decline, which is a good sign for the future. There are also people willing to take time and volunteering to clean up what they can by skimming oil for the water surface, cleaning and rescue animals that are trapped in the oil, and cleaning the oil beaches that were left due to the oil residue water. I will be talking about Joseph Hazelwood. Joseph Hazelwood was the infamous drunk captain who contributed to the tragic incident of the Exxon Valdez oil spill. The action that he did cannot be taken back. He was found guilty of negligent discharge of oil into state waters by a jury. However, he was acquitted of any other charges. All in all, he was only sentenced to do 1,000 hours of community service and was forced to pay $50,000 in total in restitution. Joseph Hazelwood then ended up apologizing for his action in a New York Times article where he said, As the master of the vessel, I accept responsibility for the vessel and the actions of my subordinates. In the same article, he also said, There is no lower crime in the state of Alaska. The judge had to come up with a sentence. I can understand it. I don't have to agree with it. Later on, he did end up apologizing again in a book titled The Spill, Personal Stories from the Exxon Valdez Disaster, where he said, I was a captain of a ship that ran aground and caused a horrendous amount of damage. I've got to be responsible for that. There's no way around it. Because of the tragedy of the Exxon Valdez spill, Exxon had to look in a deep dive of how they transport their oil and other dangerous chemicals and say, we need to make a change. While looking into information on how Exxon has changed since the incident, I found from their page how they changed their ships to prevent another incident. From their website, it says all vessels in Exxon Mobil services are fully double hull construction, mitigating the effects of nearly all low energy incidents. The same website also says all vessels in our service have to first undergo a thorough and rigorous vetting process using industry-leading quality assessment techniques. And it also finally says, we require industry best practice application of vessel management techniques such as bridge team resources management. Exxon is taking their safety measures to a new high, so something like the Valdez spill could never happen again. Besides Exxon changing how they transport oil and any other dangerous chemicals, they have also decided to take a step further by changing how fast they respond to incidents and as well as their procedures. From the ExxonMobil page, it says there are over 1,000 ExxonMobil employees involved in oil response teams worldwide. The page also says we hold frequent, expensive oil spill drills and hand-on training at various Exxon Mobil locations around the world. In addition, it also says we have developed and applied new spilling detecting technology. Lastly, the page also says ExxonMobil is a founding member of every major oil spill response organization worldwide. These statements are coming straight from the Exxon page. It shows how Exxon is owning up to their mistake and doing everything in their power to stop another incident like the Exxon Valdez spill from happening again.
Major effects. The Exxon Valdez spill had a horrible effect on the animal life of the Prince William Sound area. It totaled an estimated 250,000 deaths to seabirds, the death of 2,800 sea otters, and not to mention it even killed 22 killer whales, while also killing harbor seals, bald eagles, and billions of salmon and herring eggs. Animal life has started to recover though. However, there are still species that have not been able to recover from all the deaths. Some notable names are killer whales, marbled murrelets, gillets murrelets, and pigeon guillemots. Exxon, due to all the effects, had to pay a lot of settlements and plea agreements to compensate for their wrongs. The pricing on these range from $25 million to $900 million. The Exxon Valdez spill today. The Exxon Valdez spill has overall made its mark on the world. It completely remodeled how many safety procedures are made when transporting goods via water transport in the United States. In the past, cutting corners were more common because regulations were not as strong as they are now, thanks to the oil Valdez spill. It is still prevalent today, as some species have not made a comeback yet, such as important predators that are needed in wildlife, like killer whales.
The Exxon Valdez spill was an incident that will never be forgotten. So some changes had to be made so something like this could never happen again. A year after the incident happened, Congress had to step up and make new laws and regulation for the benefit of our environment. This new regulation that the Congress passed was one that required oil tankers in the U.S. waters to have double fuels and increased penalties for spills. The increase in the penalty of spills was an interesting idea I found because it would make for a more cautious approach with transporting harmful fluids and chemicals. And at the end of the day, corporations care about money more than anything else. And once you start hurting their margins, they will be more cautious of what they're transporting, how they're transporting. I also found it interesting that this law for having double fuels for dangerous chemicals wasn't in place before, because basically double fuels is just having an extra layer of protection on something that's being transported in the water, like a double layer of a wall. I found it interesting that it wasn't in place before, and something drastic like this had to occur for that law to be made placed. Thus, in conclusion, the Exxon Valdez oil spill was a tragedy that could have been avoided if proper measures were to be in place and we were just a little bit more careful how we were transporting items. Again, if one small thing could lead to a huge consequence at the end of the day. If we could have prevented this, thousands of animals would still be alive with us today. Then again, the Exxon Valdez oil spill was something that led to a little bit more positive, as it set away for more regulations on oil transportations and other hazardous materials that is being transported. The spill ended up leading to us having way more stricter laws about how we transport stuff. So at the end of the day, I think that was kind of a good takeaway out of this whole situation, if there was to be a good takeaway. The Prince William Islands Sound is getting better day by day, and hopefully, sometime in the near future, it will be the home to countless marine wildlife that it was before this incident happened.